Code makes the world smaller and our horizons broader. Driving every corner of our global economy is code. In this series, we look under the hood at today's most dynamic open source software with the people behind it. This is Decoded. In this episode, we sit down with the thought leaders and tech trendsetters behind some of the most successful and innovative startups today, as they share their stories and lend some personal advice. These are the Trailblazers.
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
look at that. Hey, brother.
Good to see you.
Look at this.
Hey.
Come on in, guys. Make yourselves at home. This is pretty cool. So we've been having conversations all day with different parts of the technology stack. And so we've been talking containers, mixed reality, bots, all types of things. But, you know, one of the things is that everybody at this table has been with us for a while. We've had the opportunity to work with Gobbler and Music and Picket and Sensoria, you know, going back to build 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about the technology journey for each one of you.
Working with Microsoft has been eye-opening because what started out as one platform, one SDK, a simple kind of vision. Where we are now is we have an SDK that can grow with the customer, grow with the companies and partners we're partners with. And so now it can enhance all these different experiences that people want.
I think we started with just some really basic Bluetooth connectivity.
Yeah, that's right.
And from there, the conversation started to grow.
Yep.
And then we would brainstorm together about, wow, you know, it would be really cool if we could do this or do that. And that partnership,
yep,
where you're kind of working together and envisioning what the future might look like and then turning it into concrete software, that's kind of the gig that we love.
For us, it was actually a blend of things because not only are we a cloud-based company, but we also have a desktop application. And our application is actually sort of an application of applications because we're actually using it to download and install other applications and authorize them. The transition from Amazon to Azure for us was actually so painless. It actually happened in a matter of about 6 minutes. We had an update to each client, switched it over, and suddenly, zhoosh, everything was going in that direction. And I mean, we could never have done that on our own. You know, you're the biggest software company in the world, and you have the resources to transform yourself quickly over time. And so what happens with us actually is we find that we're behind your changes. I'll read something and go, wait, when did they put that, when did that happen?
Partnering with Microsoft, that was so scary in the beginning. Of course, there are things that we are missing in the beginning when it comes to some of the APIs weren't ready for us, of course. But I mean, we had the opportunity to work together with the guys to say that, okay, we need this part of the API open, we need this open, et cetera, et cetera. Was it painless to go from AWS to Azure? For us, I think it wasn't really that painless. It wasn't 6 minutes, actually. It wasn't super hard, but it required some work from our side, of course, but also from the Microsoft side. We made a lot of good partners to partner with. There are so many good companies in the Microsoft ecosystem right now.
It was nice to see the way we were approached by Microsoft from different teams to listen to feedback or to want to get feedback and create things that matters to real scenarios is amazing. And the other great thing is having the ability to choose almost a la carte components that are more or less powerful depending on what you need to do. Things like that really makes the work very easy for the team.
So it'd be interesting to hear your perspectives on what kind of went well when we got our developers together, and then what were some of the challenges and how we overcame them.
The integration with the developer tools, I think it's best in class. There's nobody that can match. If anybody here at the table has used Eclipse or Android Studio or any other tool, like there's no match with Visual Studio and the ability to integrate with deployment and GitHub and all the services around. So it's really amazing.
You have encouraged not only your own organization, but the rest of the organization as well to start to listen to the partners. From the very beginning, you started to listen to the ideas that we had. That is how a true partnership actually looks like. That it's not just us screaming for more resources or more technology or better information or whatever it could be. We also have to give back. And I think that you have really had people encouraged to do this. And that is what I think is the most fantastic thing.
For us, it just wasn't clear how to unearth everything, and if we're going to move to it, which at the time was a more modern platform in a lot of ways, there were things that didn't exist in Azure when we first got started. And so the devs started with, well, are there workarounds? And then it was, oh, actually, maybe this would be something that we should add in. And that's when everything clicked for me. It's rare when you actually get to work with supremely experienced devs, and I think that actually really helped at our company change a certain amount of our thought process. I don't think my team would have moved as fast as they did, because they didn't feel like this big company was overpowering them and telling them what they were doing wrong, but it was almost like guidance and a little Yoda namaste that came in, that they needed, because they were just getting stuck in things that maybe a more experienced developer wouldn't get stuck in.
I constantly tried to criticize myself and my team to try to, in the hopes of trying to become better. You guys were so great about working with this person on this and dividing up the resources and then helping solve this problem over here, then bringing in another development group, onboarding them and catching them up to speed. So that was really important to me, because you were actually the only stable thing that everything was all connected to. So I really appreciate that aspect. I guess answering your first question, what were some things that maybe didn't go well? Yes. The bad is, I think transparency, maybe seeing a little further out in the future, because as we're, allocating resources, time, budget, people, not knowing certain things exist until we're already kind of 2 feet into something, it means that I get a little frustrated, because I wish that I could either hurry up and finish this, or I could then get another team working on this other thing. So having transparency might allow us to make better informed decisions.
Good, solid piece of feedback, and totally fair. I mean, your collective contribution to the code, John and his team write a summary up about once every 4 months of all the feedback we get, both from the startup community and other developers, and we bucket it out. So it could be Bluetooth issues in Windows, it could be something on Azure, it could be the APIs for O365, and these are all areas, that we've worked on, Azure on the same thing, and over time your feedback has actually gone into the product groups, and one of the things we're able to do is aggregate that feedback up.
Yeah, across all the different companies, so we can really see some trends.
With real examples, with real code samples, so when you share your code and we work with you on that stuff, we can use that to go back to the product teams and say, hey, here's what needs to change, and here's why, and here's the scenario they're trying to enable.
And in some cases, we've done work together where we'll take that code that we worked on jointly and with your permission and say, hey, here, we'll go back to the engineering team and say, here's some code. And in many cases, that code gets directly incorporated into the product. And so it's like we're all working together, both to advance your product as well as advance ours.
Changing topics a little bit, what advice would you give for startups that are paying attention here and watching?
Can I start?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that it's about being passionate about what you're actually doing. You're meeting with a lot of people out there, and they're having a lot of opinions. Some want you to go global, some want you to be local, someone wants you to do this, someone wants you to do this. And I think for all of us, I think we're doing this based on passion, right? So it's super important that we actually keep looking into ourselves and say, okay, why am I doing this? I mean, of course, you should listen to the input you get. Create this foundation of trust and passion. That is how you actually create something that's really good, I think.
I actually echo a lot of what you were saying. If you're not committed to it, then no one else will be either. And I always tell my people, no one works for me, they work with me. And I think that when you have that mentality, I think that you can really get the most out of people. And if you get the most out of people, then you actually have an opportunity to change the world. But if you don't believe, if you won't do everything to do that, then don't expect that to be handed to you.
Yeah. Chris?
I agree with all of that. I would also say, to the people running the companies, especially, the CEOs and co-founders, being yourself and being who you are is so fundamentally important, because people can totally sniff BS. and really smart people can do it really well. And if you're in a high stakes game and you want to have the best people involved in what you're doing, you got to come forth with who you are and what you believe in and do it in the truest way possible, because at the end of the day, if you're going to fight the fight and win the war, you got to do it with everyone fundamentally knowing who you are and what you stand for. And when you do that, you find loyalty, you find good partnerships, and you can find success. And I think on top of all of that, you have to be fearless. You have to be prepared to fail. You have to be prepared for your business to go out of business. You have to be prepared to make the hardest choices you've ever made in your life, even if, you know, it hurts. But you know, it's go big or go home. I mean, that's how, I mean, this is the hardest fight you'll ever have. And to succeed in it, you know, you have to be prepared to go all out. And if you play it safe, then someone else is going to be right behind you, you know, going for it and skipping right past you, because playing it safe doesn't win at the end of the day. And so if you're true to yourself and you take the risks that are necessary to push your company forward, you know, you'll have a better chance than most.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the path to success is really hard, and nobody will care about the company like a founder would do. So you really have to be super passionate and prepare to fight a very hard fight every day. There are a lot of things that come your way that don't go as planned. You also have to have a plan B and a C, and you will use all of them.
I think learning from your mistakes too, you know, not being, you know, look, cut bait. If you mess something up, I think just moving on and being okay with that, not worrying about ego, because I'll tell you what, you know, we mess things up a lot. But by messing up is how we figure out how to do something better. Bringing it all back to what you guys do for us, because you guys create such state-of-the-art software solutions and help us really integrate, we can take bigger risks, we can push the products further, and we can, you know, actually have a better chance of achieving something that hasn't been done instead of just, you know, something that has been done a little bit better.
This was, I want to end on that one, because I think that advice for startups, you know, we're looking at 4 passionate, you know, founders who have been, they're not in that beginning phase. You've been at it for a while. We've had the opportunity to partner and learn from you guys, all the way to the software code we built, to how our culture changes, et cetera. So I would, you know, say to everybody watching, you know, keep an eye out for Pickett and Sensoria and Gobbler and Music, and, you know, watch these companies and learn from their example. It's just as big an honor for John and I to watch and learn from you guys as it is from anybody else. So we appreciate it. Thanks for making the time. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Early Azure, early Windows 10 and Azure.
Yeah.
Early Bluetooth, like your early clean Bluetooth stack, early O365.
So someone asked me, okay, you reach your goal. What's your next goal? And that is something I actually figured out together with your people, with people from your teams.